Returning to the late 90s, Capcom was on a run like no other.
Game over!
Rad Earth, Darkstalkers, Puzzle Fighter, well basically 30th Anniversary Edition, MVC1, some Disney titles, and the Street Fighter 3 trilogy. Why is Third Strike the holy grail of the FGC? MVC2, Tekken 3, KF98, Guard Mark the Wolves, and whatever version of SF2 you cherish are all amazing games when compared to the contemporaries, and even their sequels. A fighting game's lifeline is based on its aesthetic, characters, music, ease of use, space to develop new tech, and the relationship between the devs and player base. Naturally, all fighting games can't hit all the parameters, shortening the lifespan, but those that do can maintain or expand their life cycle. What do the Persona franchise, Travis Scott, and Game of Thrones share in common? A strong and established aesthetic. An aesthetic is a set of principles underlying and guiding the work.
Nice.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Arguably the most important component, due to aesthetic traditionally dictating every other component. The aesthetic of a SF3 carries an undeniable confidence and swagger. Think about it. SF2 was and still is a cherished iteration, but Capcom couldn't give two f***s. New mechanics were expected, but no one anticipated an entire new roster. They even doubled down on it with the next two entries. The combination of new 2D graphics, amazing voice acting,
Get ready to die!
ideas from the Darkstalkers and Alpha series, multiple super arts, and pairing made players feel like they had the same confidence and swagger. They attempted this madness when Virtua Fighter was running the arcades, and still fought a quote-unquote losing battle, with no fear in sight. Unfazed, they still made and updated the 2D fighter. If that's not confidence, I don't know what is. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's an important lesson, but not for fighting games. Trust me, could you convince a Tekken player, or even a Soul Calibur player to hop into Skullgirls? Maybe a DOA player. Knowing most fighting game stories are just insane, most players will remember the characters themselves. The quintessential character hits all three categories: a striking visual design, an accurate personality, and of course gameplay.
The target combo to take a chunk of damage off your opponent.
Street Fighter 3's roster excels greatly in this aspect. First up, we got 12. Visually a blank slate, kinda like a clone trooper. Man-made, test tube kinda drip. 12 acts more like an inaudible, arrogant soldier, copying opponents' quips and muttering target and complete. With the moveset looking like an alien, he still copies opponents' move like the blank canvas he is. Moves like heavy punch, heavy kick, and jump heavy kick make man-made objects, adding to the aesthetic. Coming right up, we got Necro. Like 12, he looks like a product of experiment, but his design adds way more color, giving him his own funky identity. Necro acts as bizarre as his design.
Alright, that's cool.
While having a share of some dark lines, he's rather boisterous about his wings. Then his moveset is the culmination of his visual cues and personality. We got a cross between Eneru and Luffy. His mute design leads into moves like Drill Kick, Denji Blast, and Snake Fang. And for the last one, we got Hugo. Huge, domineering, slow, and maybe even a little weird.
You think that I'm a potato?
Well, I guess you kind of look like a potato.
Poison can become a potato too! Are you sure about that?
Moves like Giant Palm Bomber and Monster Lariat invoke the feeling of being a huge, ridiculously strong oaf. I chose these three because these are the lesser known / played characters in this iteration, but they just have as much polish as the Shotos.
Do that! Oh, the running man! Look at that! The running man!
Entering with the greatest fighting game soundtrack of all time,
If you have something to say, then just spit it out already.
the characters' themes, menu music, and bonus stages keep the player head knocking. Never straying away too far from the aesthetic, making it cohesive, and still finding the space to create uniqueness between the tracks. Elena's upbeat theme matches her personality and stage to a T, while the 10s have a darker tone to match the upbringing in the underworld. The main star Infinite exuded the same, probably more, confidence and swagger needed for SF3. His charisma extends to his work as a voice announcer as well.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
Third Strike mastered the concept of easy to play, hard to master. Moves like Kaiho, Ducking Rush, and Shanro, and every super art annoyed and intrigued a younger me. Now the slightly light scrubby me knows a couple target combos, will parry on purpose, and even throw out a super art. Kara throws, charge partitioning, red parrying on all terms SF3 veterans are well versed in, while the other sides just want to shoot Hadoukens. Add in straightforward archetypes, and the casual experience is set. Now for the most important component, an actual dialogue between the devs and players.
A Third Strike. Oh, boo! You can't say that if you're a young player.
Fostering a fan base isn't an easy task, so you might as well, cater to them.
It is the BBC.
A game that learned this the hard way is Grand Blue Fantasy. With it releasing in 2020, it lacked a vital component, rollback netcode. With no one playing a person, and Grand Blue's big brother Guilty Gear coming in the next year with rollback, it made a comfortable deathbed. Third Strike added a lot. New music, sound effects, grading system, character intros.
Why are you running?
And all that would have been all for nothing if they didn't add Chun-Li, which satisfied the SF2 purists. Taking into account the lukewarm reception for the first two iterations, Third Strike is like a longer than expected love letter to their fan base. What do you guys think? What factors do you think play in a fighting game's life?
Go to WWE.com and register. I wonder what $1 million even smells like. Hey.
Thanks for watching, and hit all them buttons on the way out. With the game being older than me,
Daigo? You ain't Daigo. Oh, he's Daigo! He's Daigo!